Hi there. Different view. Boy, this was tricky. But I'm hoping it will work. I'm hoping you can see underneath here. This is my old clunker Kenmore 14. It was my mom's. She made many a beautiful quilt on this machine. So it's not a cutting edge expensive machine, but boy, not only does it do the job, but it makes me smile every time I use it. So, and that's fine with me. I am nowhere near any kind of professional seamstress. So this old baby does the trick, and like I said, makes me smile. So I did go ahead and stitched around Edith here. If you recall, I said I wanted to just do a zigzag around her, and just to hold those pieces down. And I think it looks cute. Now here's the back. It's a little alarming. The back looks a little Frankenstein-y. But you'll never see it because there's going to be end papers under there. And sometimes, for whatever reason, because of the tension, and I use my hand a lot to slow it down, and then let the electricity, use the pedal underneath here to speed it up a bit if I'm on a long stretch. Like I suspect I'll be able to use the electricity through here and not have to hand crank the wheel over there. I just couldn't get it all in. I apologize. There's just no way that I could get my tripod isn't a floor tripod, it's a tabletop tripod. I think if I had a floor tripod, I could have possibly set it up back further to show you. But nevertheless, this will work, and just barely, because I've got the zigzag foot on my machine. Hold on. I keep saying hold on, forgetting that I've got a microphone. It gets very dusty when you sew paper. All right, so I've got it set to what I think, but I am going to run. I always have a stitching paper on hand, and my favorite sizes I will write here and here. And my problem is with this machine, and you can't see it, there aren't specific numbers. It's purely a wheel. So there isn't a way that you can know for sure that you're at, whether it's a 50% zigzag or 100%. It's a wheel. So that it goes from smallest to biggest, and you've got to choose somewhere in between. So that's why I've given myself 2 on the stitch and halfway on the zigzag, more or less. So let's do halfway on the zigzag, and we're going to do 2. So I clicked that, and now what I'm going to do is, again, I love the threads, so I'm going to give myself lots of thread, hang it out the back, and I usually will put I'll put the needle down and through manually on my own. And it's going to be noisy, I apologize. But I will. So I think that's a little too wide. So I'm going to bring that in a bit and see how we go. And sometimes you have to push it through, because at first it won't want. There we go. My old machine, at least, doesn't always want to cooperate. I can see where some of those little flower petals, let's put you through. No, they're okay. I was worried that they'd flipped over on themselves. This is such a tiny lace. That can happen. And that's one of those instances where I would say, well, it adds to the character. All right, so as I sew, you'll see I'm holding usually with one hand here, directing it, And I actually literally have my other hand over on the wheel because my machine does not have a slow option. So if I want to slow it down even more, I literally have to run my hand along the wheel like a brake. And this is what I do. Oh, it's running into my, I'm going to move this a bit. It's running into my tripod leg there. And I'll just run it right off the edge. There we go. And then I give myself lots of thread so that I'll still tie them off anyways. I'm going to leave it long for now and decide later if I want to trim those threads or if I like them long. So again, I'm just going to, so you've noticed I don't do a back and forth. I tried that in the past when I first started sewing paper and book covers, and you can literally, if you try and go back and forth, you know how we were taught in sewing class to do a knot in your fabric, back and forth, and then you get going. I found that with paper and with cardboard, your needle can literally puncture and make a tear or a hole right into your paper or cardstock. So I don't ever do the back and forth on paper or cardstock. So I've got my hand controlling the speed because of my old machine. But if you've got a slow speed, you probably would be able to hold both of your hands here just to be safe. But I've just learned with sewing with book covers, I have to control my book with one hand. And it works out. So there we go. So both of those, you can't tell that it's zigzagged, but if you look at this side, it's absolutely zigzagged. Now here, I'm going to just do a quick stitch down here and then through here because there's going to be a lot more stitching on here. So I'm just going to start up here and just do one zigzag. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so it catches more space. Because I just want to basically grab that lace so it's not going anywhere. I'm sewing on this side because I like the dimensional and the texture that having that lace that loose there. I like that. Now, I'm just trying to decide whether I want to stitch right through that or not. And I don't think I want to, just in case. So I'm going to undo it. I always give myself oodles of thread. I just do. And then I'm going to start back over here again. So there's not a lot of detail work with that. So let me show you the back. See how... Now I will do, and I already did it on the little Edith Holden, I will go along with my bone folder and push those, that displaced paper, the like tiny little volcanoes all along there, I'll push them back in. And then if I can, and sometimes I can't, if there's glue involved or if it's just tangled itself too much, I can't do this, but if I can, I will pull the thread and pop it through to the front. There, that one came through. I felt it give. And I will tie it, I'll knot it off on the top section so that I can have my crazy thread situation happening. So I'm going to go ahead now that I've shown you that I just sew right through it, and I literally, if I have to, I'll crank the wheel over there at my manual. If my machine is trying to give me grief, you can hear it. If the pedal is just working too hard to send electricity, you don't want to blow out your motor. So if I have to, I will literally manually crank it stitch by stitch by stitch by stitch. But this isn't too thick, and it's not too dense, so it's, the older the book, I find it's a little bit mushier and it's a little more accepting of a needle puncturing through it. So I'm going to go and finish now off camera, but I will be gluing down just lightly. Doesn't need a lot of glue, because I'm knowing that the thread is going to do most of the work for me. And I will do that cascade of bridal lace here, and I'm going to put the butterfly on, and I'm going to put a bit more bridal lace up there. So I hope that helped. I hope those of you who haven't tried yet will give it a try. Find an old book that you don't ever intend to make a journal out of, and just practice on the cover. That's what I did. I found a book that I wanted the guts out of. I think it was like an old Dick and Jane book. But the cover was so horribly ruined, that I just used it as a sewing experiment until I got comfortable with it. And then sooner or later, you just have to sew through your first cover and take a chance, and it can work out really great. All right, take care. We'll talk soon, everyone. Bye. Have a great rest of your day.